Good day, weebs. Today, I am back once again. Episode 9. Pharmacy Isekai. Super simple. Last episode was a little bit about awkward talks. Father didn't quite know what personal space meant. So, you know, a little bit things about puberty, things like that, which is always nice, I guess. This episode, we'll see what happens, I guess. I've had a look through already. It looks like there's not that much I can really talk about in the first half, mostly because, well, you'll find out. So we'll have a look. I'll probably skip through the first half, or edit it out or something if I don't really find anything that interesting. And we might skip ahead to part 2 because part 2 has a little bit more stuff to do with, you know, my line of expertise. But anyway, we'll get going.
二人とも準備できたか？はい、本当にピクニックでいいのか？もう少し遠出して一泊するのもいいかなって思ってたんだけど。はい、
お弁当を作ってお出かけできるのは楽しいですし。
Picnics are nice. It's always important to go out to nature, you know? Well, she can take the brooch now, right? And then she can go everywhere. Also, she's like over 100 years old or whatever, right? What if the lake's not the same anymore? Oh, look, it's Demon King. Does he have a car? Oh. Yep, the opening. Yeah, so basically they go to the lake and they have a picnic. And the picnic's very nice. I'm just gonna skip through this, I think. You know, nice lake, whatever, they go fishing. Lots of monsters and beasts. Apparently the Demon Lord thinks he's cool. I don't get where he keeps getting all these, like, employees and what he's paying them, to be honest. This is true. So, okay, this is actually something you can talk about. So, placebo effect, especially when it comes to this kind of thing. When you experience something in a positive environment, this will sound very obvious, but when you experience something in a positive environment surrounded by friends or whatever's fun or whatever, you will think it's a lot better than it usually is. And this is sort of an extension of the placebo effect, where even if something, like, we know it won't do anything, like, it might still do something. Your body might still respond. It's the power of psychology, I suppose, where it's been studied where the placebo effect is a real thing. Even if the patient knows that it's a sugar pill, they still feel better that they did something about it, right? So yeah, the placebo effect, definitely a thing. Another kind of form it takes, sort of, which is on the opposite side of it, is what's called as white coat syndrome. You might have heard of this before, where, for example, typically in older patients, like when you get your blood pressure taken, you know, you might be completely normal at home when you're measuring it yourself, like 120/80, maybe 130/85, whatever, or 90, like a little bit raised the older you get. But then you go to the doctor's office and suddenly you're pulling in numbers like 145/100 or something, like insanely high. And the reason some people give is, you know, they're afraid of the doctor. And, you know, there is some merit to that, where, yeah, people are afraid of the doctor, or they're not as comfortable as they are at home. So, yeah, that's why we kind of tell most of our patients, you know, take your blood pressure regularly at the same time each day, because then that kind of tries to eliminate that kind of variance, whether it's, you know, like a healthcare professional, whoever it is, or it's yourself. Then we have a consistent track record of your blood pressure. But yeah, Placebo Effect. Tea tastes better when you're having it with friends. Everything's always better when you're with friends, and you can have fun with like the most mundane situations, as long as you're in good comedy. So yeah.
使ってるのは同じお茶っ葉なんですけど、不思議ですね。
Yeah, we might keep skipping forward a little bit because most of this doesn't really not really pharmacy related. I'm not gonna lie. It's them just kind of bonding as characters. Phenomenon I'm not completely aware of or familiar with in Australia, so I'm not really going to touch on it. But
魚影の意識スキルを身につけました。
おお、これは役に立ちそうだ。どれどれ。
might just readjust my microphone a little bit. Yeah, so they go fishing.
どうでしょうか。
Obligatory swimsuit episode. So you wanna have a look.
よく似合ってるよ。
It's there.
この水着を着るために。
How do you lose weight? Okay, no. I remember this. How do you lose weight as a ghost? I find that that goes against all my beliefs about what ghosts are, to be honest. Aren't they supposed to be minimally like weight? Like they shouldn't have any weight in the first place. They're ghosts. They don't have a physical form.
頑張ったんだな。
Anyway,
大人っぽくて素敵じゃないか。
that's a dangerous way to say it, mate.
魔王が天国行っちゃダメだろ。
Yeah,
魔王が天国
he's right. Demon Kings don't deserve to be in Tengoku. Don't deserve to go to heaven just because there's a couple of chicks in swimsuits. Get over yourself, mate. Anyway.
仕方ない。一人でやるか。秘密兵器もあるしな。
Whoop, sorry.
バクツレ君、魚類の嗅覚に強烈に。
Yeah, so he made this in preparation where he has like some bait of pheromones that can attract fish. I mean, I don't have that skill, so I wouldn't know. It's like when people always keep pointing out, oh, maybe there's aphrodisiacs, etc., etc. I mean, no, not really. There aren't really, not that I know of, not anything that's widespread. If there was, we would know about it, because if there was anything that legitimately worked, that shit would be regulated. So there isn't really. The best aphrodisiac should be for whoever you're with. It should be the fact that you're with them and, you know, they find you attractive. Should be the best aphrodisiac, you know. Shouldn't need all this extra stuff, because otherwise, if they're not like attracted to you normally, then why are you with them, or why are they with you? Just saying. Anyway, life lessons. Oh, big fish. This is all from a salaryman from Tokyo, by the way. It's a slime. It's a girl.
と思ったら針がついてるなんてひどいよ。いたたた。水から女の子が。主、どっから。
Yeah. So this is the chick that they teased at the end of the last episode.
僕を釣ったひどい人間は。
ねえ、あー、ごめん。釣ったっていうか勝手に。
あ。
Mao-sama knocked out KO.
いじめダメ絶対。サンドイッチたくさんありますよ。
Alright, hold up. Those picnic supplies look fairly advanced. And I'm talking about like that flask particularly. Maybe they just made those, but like, come on, man. It looks like some vacuum-filled bloody thermos there.
でも僕みたいなダメ精霊が君たちと一緒に
Getting real aqua vibes from this lady.
食べたら
気まずいランチタイム
Like, literally aqua vibes.
ならないならない
もしかして仲間に入れてくれたふ
なんで
大丈夫
Strawberry cream sandwiches as well for your first meal after a while must be very, I don't know if I'd want a sweet thing as your first, like, meal from a long hibernation. I think I'd want something savory. Something with protein. Rather than sugars. You know?
じゃ
Oh
あ
well.
あれはレイジ君が作った薬だったの
ああまさか
ですか
本音が
昔はそういえば昔
Yeah, she eats all the offerings, but she doesn't do anything about it. She doesn't reward them, the humans, with anything.
食べるばかりで見返りをあげられなかったから
Literally aqua. Anyway.
きっとはしたない精霊だって思われたんだ
Apparently she must have done something beforehand though, if they were giving her offerings and stuff.
ノエラ
And then she goes back to slime form.
愛を保てないんだ僕
Oh, important. Alright, we'll go back a little bit.
生き返った
なんなんだ
Throw her back in the lake.
ごめん実は僕体温が低くないと実体を保てないんだ僕は湖に帰るよ
おーじゃあ一緒に釣りでもするかこれなら水辺でできるしちょうどさっきの餌バクツレくんもある
僕に釣れるわけないじゃないか一緒に遊んだってつまらないよそんなことないですよ一緒にやるはあきっとこうして恩を
So yeah, she can't keep a human form while she has a high body temperature, because she's a slime, I suppose.
魚がかかったんだ
She's
よ
also like super depressed, has no friends, and immediately thinks this guy's hot because it's a harem now, I suppose. I didn't think it would be a harem, but it's a harem. Um,
よし
might be she's just lonely, to be honest.
湖もさ 雑貨屋とウサギ亭のたちにはオスたちには
幼いもごめん
もらいっぱなしもあっていいだろ打算だけのもらいっぱなしも
Alright, hold up. So
何
she's like, oh, I'm so useless. I'm such a useless god. Don't hang out with me. I'm so depressed.
ビビ
Uh,
俺はお前に見返りを求めない
good. So don't expect like return for friends. Help them out because they're friends. But here, this is where I take issue. Between friends, it's okay if you're always on the giving or receiving end. Theoretically speaking, you should be both giving and receiving in equal amounts for a healthy friendship, in my opinion. I don't think you should always be on the giving or receiving end because then that just creates an imbalance and it's really weird between you two because you're like, oh, do I owe them? Do they owe me? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I just think that's kind of shitty life advice from an anime. You should not always be on the giving or receiving end. You need to balance. It needs nuance, you know? Friends are friends because they give each other, like, value in exchange for something from them, right? You should be gaining value out of it. Yeah, that's just... Yeah, no. It is not okay if you're always on one end, whether you're giving or receiving, because it means you're either giving too much or you're just greedy, to be honest. But anyway, that's enough about me.
与えっぱなしももらいっぱなしもあっていいだろ打算だけの付き合いなんて俺も嫌だから
Exactly. He doesn't like self-interested relationships. That's the point. That's why you shouldn't be on either side, because otherwise the friendship is weird, it's wonky, and you're not gaining value out of it. Like, it needs to be a, you know, balance. I don't know. And this is where she falls in love with him.
レイジ君と僕が ちゃん。私もよかったらお友達にしてください。この湖は私にとっても大切な場所。そこを見ていてくださったのはビビさんなんですから。皆さん、
まあ友達にはならんが、ノエラさんに見直してもらう機会を得られたことは評価に値する。友達になってやらんこともないこともないぞ。魔王の心は広いのだ。
だけどそんなこと言って君たちわざわざピクニックしにここへ来たんだろ。どうせもうずっと会いに来ないよ。
True. Wouldn't come back.
うちにバイトしに来るか？
Ah, of course. So this is where he gets his employees. This is the real rot, is where he gets all these employees without having to pay them. They just show up to work. He doesn't even need to pay them. This guy is amazing. He has great business sense. As long as the employees are doing their jobs, then he's basically employing them for free. My God. Doesn't even need to keep payroll or any of that bureaucracy stuff.
社員で雇って。
不満なのそこか。
バイトなんて。
She wants to be a... But you're connected to the lake, aren't you? How can you be a full-timer? You can't be a full-timer. You already said you can't keep your, like, physical, like, human form when you don't have... when your body temperature gets too high. How can you possibly be a full-timer?
それにさっき見たでしょ。僕は体温を低く保てないと。
Yeah, so then how can you be a full-timer? You're going to need to, at some point, get a cooling system. Like a computer.
実体でいられないんだ。誘いは嬉しいけど。
待てよ。あれを使えば。
冷却ジェル。
Oh yeah, he already had cooling gel on him.
ビビ。
He made this earlier. What episode was it? I can't remember. He made this cooling gel before, which we do have in real life. Like things that will give you like a cooling sensation. Like Vicks Vapor Rub is probably the most. What's the word? Popular, I suppose. It can come in a couple varieties, where either it's a cooling sensation or a warm sensation. Yeah. A lot of sports injury creams will do this as well. Have a cooling sensation, so as to help with inflammation, that kind of thing. Because you want to, so for like injuries, here's some first aid for you. So the acronym RICE. So you want to, for example, let's say like someone sprained their ankle, for example. So you want to raise the leg, or the ankle that's sprained. You want to raise it off the floor, preferably so that when they're sitting down, that it actually is like above their waistline a little bit. But raising it however you can is fine enough. If they're like prone, then if they're prone, then raising it just enough so that like they can prop it up so it's above the line of the rest of their body is fine. But basically it helps to kind of keep blood from rushing to it so fast, so you try to keep down the inflammation that way. So that's R in the acronym. ICE is, well, I is ice, sorry. So you want to ice it, again, for inflammation. C is for compressions. So basically you want to bind it as tightly as you can, again, to help with the inflammation, that kind of thing. Also helps to immobilize it as well, because you don't want them potentially causing more damage than they already have. And E is elevate, I believe. Let me check. Injury management. Rest, ice, compression, elevation. Yeah. So, one is, so R is rest. Sorry, I got that wrong. R is rest. Which again, makes sense. Rest the area, protect it, that kind of thing. What did I say R was? Oh, I'll find out later. Anyway, I'll find out later when I'm editing this. So yeah, rice, very important. And that's why a lot of injury creams and gels and things like that will have a cooling sensation, so it helps aid the ice and the injury management to help prevent the initial inflammation anyway. Once it becomes like a few hours on and the inflammation's already kind of set, rice doesn't really help. Rice is pretty much only used in first aid situations when the injury has just occurred, to help suppress the inflammation response as much as possible to make it easier to manage and easier to heal, that kind of thing. But once it's past that kind of initial phase where the injury occurred, then there's other ways of managing the injury. And that's why you'll also see some people having hot water bottles and things like that. But well, that's an entirely different issue. So, yes, cooling gels do exist. I'm surprised you can put it on a spirit though, because the spirit would also have an incorporeal form, wouldn't they? Oh, I said R was raise, sorry. Yeah, R is rest. Rest, ice, compressions, elevation. Or elevate. I guess because I thought rest was kind of self-explanatory. But wow, she really wanted friends.
今日からよろしくお願いします。うん。教育係はエジル、面倒を見てやってくれよ。はい、先生。
I'm surprised the demon lord is so subservient. Funky.
ヨガ貴様の先輩である。いいか後輩、ヨガ貴様に
Senpai Kohai, oh my no. Oh no.
先輩の負担が減る。
違う。後輩の面倒を見られるエジルすごいとノエラさんが思ってくださる。
それでいいのか魔王。
ノエラちゃんが？
ノエラちゃんだと？貴様、なれなれしい。
そうかな。でも僕、ノエラちゃんと友達だもん。ノエラも友達。
友達。ノエラさんと。
The food chain has changed.
わからないことがあれば何でも世に聞いてください。この世が全力でサポートいたします。
はい。
手段を選ばないあたり。
What a supplicant.
魔王らしくてとても良いと思いました。
What a... anyway. So, if you ever like a girl, don't be that... What's the word? Don't be putty in her hand, I guess. Keep it in perspective until you know that she feels the same way. And then you can both be putty in each other's hand. But when you just have a crush and it's not, you know, reciprocated, don't be stupid. That's all I'm saying. Don't be stupid, full stop. Just in general.
いらっしゃいポーラ、アナベル。レイ
君、ハローハロー。
なんだよ、今女同士で大事な話をしてんだ。あっち行っててくれ。
大事な話？
でもレイジさんならパパッと片付けられる薬を作ってもらえるかもしれませんよ。
Here we go. The real pharmacy shit.
なんだよ。
Making medicines. Fixing problems.
お話だけなら。
ノエラお仕事手伝う。主、それ何？
これか？こいつは女の人が綺麗になる薬だ。
ケトリーヌ。毛を溶かす成分が入ってる。
That is...
欲望。
vaguely sexist, but you know. Maybe they want more hair. Maybe it's all hair on the head. Like hair should be hair growth. I don't know. This is weird. Anyway. Yeah, sure. Hair suppression. I would say help with attaining the appearance that they wish to have. I guess, yeah, making them all beautiful is okay. Maybe I'm just weird. Just depends on how they use it, right? So, as long as they use it how they want to and it's useful for them.
その名も除毛クリームケトリーヌ。
ケトリーヌ？
Again, this exists, obviously. Well, not this specifically where it actually removes hair, but things that will help in the process of hair removal. like shaving creams, that kind of thing is what I'm talking about, to make it easier, whether it be to reduce pain or make the hair softer, that kind of thing. So yeah, it exists, but again, not something we really deal with in pharmacy in terms of like medications, that kind of thing. Yeah, there are definitely medications for hair growth that are, you know, more medicine related, but hair remover, not so much.
これは試作品だから持って帰って試してくれ。
ありがとうレイ君、早速試すよ。
すげえな。マジで作っちまうとは。さすが薬屋。
すごいです。ありがとう。
さすが薬屋。Wait, why does the ghost need any of this? She's a ghost. She's been dead for like 100 years. Her appearance hasn't changed. She literally doesn't age. She shouldn't need this stuff.
こんなに喜んでくれるなら作った甲斐があったというものだ。
Oh, someone's jealous. Oh.
おはよう。
おはようございます。
もうおはようノエラ。
おはよう
今日はなんかおしゃれしてるけどどうかした？なんでも
ない。
自慢の尻尾なのにちょっと見せてみろ。なんでもない。ノエラ。ああ。
触る。ダメ。
お前あの薬勝手に使っただろ。
ノエラさん、だから言ったじゃないですか。すぐにバレちゃう。
I'll have someone to comment once we're through this part.
なるほど。綺麗になるはずが毛がなくなってたと。そういや朝騒がしかったな。
ごめんなさい。ノエラさんが相談に来てたから。心配ない。すぐ生える。
この薬、毛を成長させないようにする効果もあるんだぞ。
アルチー、ごめんなさい。もうノエラ勝手にお薬使わないから。
Alright, now she's crying. So I've said in multiple episodes previously where Neula has been willy-nilly drinking medicines and potions and things like that it's not really her fault. Well, she does obviously have some personal responsibility to take, but her mental capacity is that of like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. She really... That's the vibe I get from a character. Obviously, the author might have different impressions about how old she is, but as far as her actual behavior goes, she sounds, talks, feels like 6 to 7-year-old. In any case, no matter how old they are, this guy should be taking better care of the storage of his medicines. She shouldn't be able to get her hands on this stuff in the first place, because otherwise you end up with accidents like this, and it may even cause even more terrible consequences in the future. This is like a fairly nothing burger, to be honest. Yeah, she put it on her tail and it's not growing back. Funny. I mean, there's probably something to reverse that, I'm sure. But when it comes to medications, this is why you need to keep them on a high shelf in child-proof containers in ways that kids can't get at them, because more often than not, there are more instances of children getting at medications than you would think, and then having to call the poison center for whatever they've ingested. Even adults do this sometimes. I mean, more often than not, it's on purpose, not to get into that topic. But people take shit they don't know all the time. And it's really frustrating sometimes when people will willingly take things from a stranger and then not trust you as a healthcare professional to be able to fix it. And it's very easy to be able to point out the difference, or it's not technically hypocrisy. I mean, they are kind of being hypocrites, but the difference in opinion when it comes to necessarily taking stuff from a stranger compared to taking a medication that's coming from who should be a trusted healthcare professional, when they obviously don't trust you. So yeah, as I said, better storage, better places to keep it out of the hands of Neula in this case. And that's why there's regulations in the pharmacy about where these medications are. And that's why they're always in a place the public can't get at them, because The public doesn't know how to use them. They'll just, I mean, you can Google stuff now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have the education or the expertise to be able to distinguish what is the best medication for what infection or what illness that they have. Case in point is infections, antibiotics. There are so many antibiotics. How do you know which one to use? Well, you don't unless you've done a pharmacy degree or a medicine degree or nursing degree or whatever. Yeah, he needs better storage. And hopefully this has taught him a lesson, which I highly doubt, but it looks like it's taught her a lesson. Maybe for some more personal responsibility on her part, I suppose. How convenient. How convenient.
これを使えばすぐ生えてくると思うぞ。
主、ありがとう。ノイラ一生ついていく。
な、大げさな。俺が怒らなかったのは、やっぱりノエラも女の子なんだなと思ったからだ。それはもう本能レベルの話なのだろう。
She's a werewolf! What kind of instinct would a werewolf have to make herself pretty? Alright, whatever. Okay. Sure. Instinct.
それ以降、ノエラが新薬を持ち出すこともなくなったとさ。
She learned! She learned! It's a miracle! She learned! She learned not to use medications willy-nilly. She learned to not trust what's in the bottle and not trust necessarily what this man always makes. But he has not learned to store his medications properly in a place where people can't get at them unless they've been properly trained to use them. Or educated. And that's the end. Oh, Vivi! She needs cooling, child. Looks like the Red Cat mercenaries are up next again. Fair enough. Well, that gets us to the ending. That gets us to the ending of this episode as well. If you enjoyed it and you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment below about anything pharmacy related or to mention my stuff up about rice. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this. Next episode will be on Sunday in a couple days. I'm hoping to finish this up before the new season starts in earnest. So then the Sunday of the first week of October, I will have an all-new series about, not first week, first week of October, technically speaking. So the 10th of October is what I'm talking about. On the 10th of October, I'll be releasing a new series where I go through most of fall 2021 anime. Their first episodes, first impressions, roughly 30 seconds an anime to tell you what's good, what's not. So make sure you subscribe for that. But otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Ciao.